Hello and welcome to the Bridetender podcast. I'm your host, Esty Levin, and I'm here to tend to the brides like I tend to the bar. So mix yourself a cocktail and let's get ready to discuss all things weddings. Today, I am here with somebody who is like keeping me young, you know, because she's really good at social media. She doesn't need me to explain anything to her, but she needs to explain it all to me because this truly has turned into like a full-time job. That's what I tell people. It's like you need to be your own social media manager. So everybody, I'm here with Sam Gentili from Bridal Social, and we're going to talk about content creation, social media for your business, all the things that really everybody needs in today's day and age. And truthfully, it is so hard to keep up with all of it.
Oh, for sure. I like you said, it really is a full-time job, I guess, which is why I'm here doing what I'm doing. But it really is. And I tell everyone that firstly, your client's first thought is to stop at your Instagram. And for me, people my age, I don't look at anything anymore. I go straight to an Instagram, and if I like your vibe and your style and your aesthetic, that's where I go. So for sure, the most important thing I think you could have right now in terms of marketing material is an Instagram, and a really good one at that.
So now I want to actually like gauge your perspective on this, because for me, I'm like, okay, it was like MySpace, then Facebook, then Instagram, and then you have like your subdivisions. I don't know if anyone would call it that but me, but like, which is like Snapchat and I don't even know. I see something like Visco. I don't even know what that is, but I don't even know if I'm saying that right, to be honest with you. But there's just so many other like arenas, and now like we have things like Reels on Instagram, and it's like you have to be doing Reels in order to get your content out there. Yeah. So it's become even more so than just photos now. It's very much about the video.
100%. And it sucks too, I guess, within the wedding industry, because I think even looking back, we've always been so photocentric. Like you're getting a ton of beautiful photos, professional photos from photographers. And now it's kind of like, oh, those are great. But to grow your Instagram, now you need very, very specifically formatted and curated and captured content that is for solely a social media purpose. Sometimes not even things that videographers are catching on the day either, because they're looking for things for the couple, whereas for the couple might not make sense for a Instagram or social presence on TikTok or Instagram and everything like that. So yeah, it really is a struggle now, but that really is where I think it has been heading and is right now and is going to continue. Video content's king. And
a real thing for the wedding day, which I was just thinking about, and where you can come into play on two different aspects, is like on the business end of things, and I'll speak on the business for a second, is that it's so hard to capture your own content when you're like, oh, I'm dealing with the bride and I'm dealing with the vendors and I'm dealing with this, that it's cool to have somebody behind the scenes who's showcasing what you do and what your role is that day. But also, we're now in this like area of life, 2023, where brides want that behind the scenes content so that they can enjoy it the next day, they can post it, they can kind of gain traction as an influencer, so to say. You know, I think that like your business model can work for two different sides of the business, which is for the bride, also for the vendors.
100%. And I've actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. I've been doing that recently. So I started out on the vendor side of things in my career, doing social media and starting in that realm. And then when video content kind of became more prevalent in the industry and prevalent in social media management in general, I started doing content creation for vendors. So I worked with a couple of vendors in the industry and grew their pages through social and through content creation. And now I feel like it's just started to blow up with brides where they actually were the ones that wanted it. And whether it be for kind of the hype of being an influencer or like a TikTok star or something like that and having your reels blow up, or solely just for more consumable content, because now obviously, as you know, everyone's kind of attention span has gone to literally zero. So they can't focus on anything anymore, and I can't either. Like, I'm not going to watch a 2-hour video or an hour video anymore. Like, I can't even on TikTok, like they're 7-minute videos and I have to skip sometimes. And I admit that's very Gen Z, but everyone's looking for a really quick, more consumable recap that's fun and based around more concise formatting. So yeah, it's definitely a double kind of edged sword with what I do, where I could do it for vendors because I know what brides are looking for, and I also could do it for brides because I also know what they're looking for personally. So it's a win-win.
Definitely. And I think in today's times, we're now in wedding season. So I'm sure you have been crazy.
Yeah.
As have I. Truly, like, I don't know how I'm making it through this month.
Yeah.
Deranged.
Yeah. Everyone is.
I sure am. I'm like getting by the skin of my teeth, if I'm really being honest.
Yeah.
My poor husband, he really had like no idea like what wedding season meant, like prior to like meeting me. And then dated me, married me, all these things. And I was like, wow, like my life is like crazy from April through December. Sorry, but like I'll see you in January.
The partners of wedding professionals are the unsung heroes of this industry. I will tell you, they put up with so much. So I applaud every single one, because I know my boyfriend also is dealing with that, where he's like, I never see you. I'm like, sorry, you see me in like December.
Yeah.
Peace. So yeah. So I totally get it.
So now I've seen you've kind of been like traveling a bit and doing this. So now you've really taken this, internationally.
Oh my God. It's been a dream. Like, I'm one of those people that if I could get on a plane and go somewhere, I would just totally do it in a heartbeat. And I've told all my brides, I've gotten a bunch of inquiries for destination weddings, or they're somewhere that's not local to New York, and they're like, would you come? I was like, oh, I will be there 100%. Even if it's like even if it's a little complicated, I will make it work and I will get there. But I've been blessed that I've been able to travel to so many fun places, at least even so far, just for this job. I've been to Paris and went to like a gorgeous chateau in the south of France.
That's the dream.
Oh, I felt like I was in like some kind of rom-com, like sitting there listening to all the birds chirping. I'm like, is this my job? Like, is this real life? Because that was baffling. That really hit me, that I was like, wow, this is I'm living a dream right now. And then I actually went to Canouan, which is a small island outside of the Barbados. And also,
I love Barbados.
Oh my gosh, gorgeous.
I had my honeymoon there. It was the best ever.
The island is so cute, and it's perfect weather. Perfect.
It is. I stayed at Sandals in Barbados. I like highly recommend it. Like Sandals, if you want to like sponsor the podcast, they talk about you all the time.
Hit her up.
Like, truly, if you want to send me a free vacation, it's totally fine. Like, we'll go anywhere. Jamaica, Curacao. Like, I'm super open.
Use the code Bridetender10 for
use the code Bridetender10 for Sandals. Could you imagine?
That'd be great. You're taking me with you.
It literally was amazing, and Barbados is just like such an awesome island. So the fact of like to get to go there for work and just like get to shoot there and like enjoy it a little bit is awesome.
It's like the dream job to go to these places and then be like, not only am I here and I love not what I'm doing, but I'm also getting paid to do it. It's like I can't ask for anything more than that, honestly.
So I want to ask you, how did you like get into the wedding industry? Like, is this something that you wanted to do your whole life?
Actually, not the wedding industry, surprisingly. I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. That has been one of my cornerstones in my life since literally I could remember, whether it was like selling stuff in my elementary school at lunch or something. Like, I always knew that I wanted to be my own boss and do something creative that I really liked. My mom actually started in corporate events, so she's not a planner or anything. She does kind of really big, she's in a production company, so she does that realm. So I've always grown up with the weird schedule and going to shows and dealing with things. So I guess that always was kind of subconscious to me. But during COVID, actually, I was in school and obviously the world stopped and I had to go home. I ended up doing online classes for years. And at some point I was like, I'm going to class for 3 hours a day. What am I doing? Like for the other part of my life. And I just wanted to do something that made me feel good, that made me feel like I was kickstarting something in a resume builder, because I'm very crazy and type A and a workaholic like that. So I started my own champagne cart rental company. So I bought the champagne cart and I did it with my cousins, and we rented it out to places on Long Island and little backyard parties and everything. And that's how I started getting in. And that's when I started meeting people and connecting with people and doing social for some of these other wedding industry professionals, and all very local and small at the time. A lot of them grew to be bigger now, and I love seeing it, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember them when they were doing little backyard Long Island parties. And then I actually met Gino, my former boss, through Dolce & Gelato Catering, because I was having a little networking get-together at the end of that summer, COVID summer, for all the industry professionals that we worked with, to say thank you for dealing with the crazy COVID summer. And we hit it off, and I started working with him, and that's kind of how I got into the bigger realm of the wedding industry.
Well, I feel like when it comes down to the wedding industry, so many people, it's like in their blood. So, it was really for you too. And I think a lot of people in this industry are very entrepreneurial, so it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is an industry that is always consistent. There's always people getting married, but what I always say is that when you work in this world, like, it truly is like the mafia. Like, it's like you don't want to get out, because it really sucks you in. It totally sucks you in.
Oh, for sure. And I feel like you have to be a certain breed to want to work in this industry.
You do. You do, because it takes so many days, hours, months of your life. Like, you truly, forget about weekends, forget about holidays, forget about holiday weekends. That's out completely. So you totally have to love it. You have to absolutely love what you do.
Yeah, I tell all my brides that too. And I said, I even step above my duties as a content creator to give them advice, because I just love to talk clearly. But I always say, with your vendors, if you don't get that immediate, like, I love what I do, and I love not only doing this industry, but also making your day feel special, then don't hire them, because then they're not in it for the right reasons. Because this industry can spit someone up like that and just, or choose them out, spit them out, and you really have to love it.
And I tell this to all of my clients, there's so many people who do different areas of the business. So if you don't really vibe with somebody, that's okay, because there will be somebody else who you will.
Exactly. And I even, like, again, I always tell my brides at the beginning of my phone calls when I have with them, I said, look, you take this time. This is a time for you to scope me out and see if you vibe with me. And I said, I won't be offended if you don't. You can't vibe with everyone. And I said, if I don't vibe with you, it would just be uncomfortable during the day to not vibe with each other when we're in each other's faces.
And it's a long day. It's a long day. It's a lot of hours. I always say that too, because I think when I was a bit younger, I might have been more like upset if if me and a client didn't feel. But now that I'm older and I've been in the industry a long time, I'm more like, when you're planning a wedding or you're working a wedding, you're working with someone for a long time. It's not usually, you're working with them for 3 weeks or 3 months or 6 months. It's usually about a year, if not more. And a year is a really long time to work with somebody that you don't really feel like connected to. So I agree with that. You need to kind of really like hit it off from the beginning.
Yeah, and especially given that it's so emotional for brides and it's the day that they're looking forward to, if you're not clicking on an emotional level with them, not only are you not going to be there for them or give them what they need emotionally or from your job, but like you're with them all day on the day of their wedding. How are you going to feel? How are they going to feel when you're not vibing really well?
And you don't want to feel awkward.
Yes.
Either as the bride or as the vendor. working someone's day when you and that person are off.
Yes.
And as someone, and I've worked for a few different venues, I've done planning on my own, I've seen that go on before, and I'll be honest, like, it's painful.
Yeah.
Like, it is painful.
Yeah, and even like I just got off of a event that I did 15 hours of content creation, which was granted.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. I love it, and I was so happy, and at the end of the night, I was willing to keep going, which just proves how much I literally love the bride. But I can't even imagine that if I didn't really click with her and I was in her personal space for 15 hours on the biggest day of her life. Like, can you imagine that?
No.
That would be a nightmare. I'd be
Yes.
like, just when is this day over? Like, I was so grateful. And I was even texting her after. I was like, I text all my brides. I'm like, that was genuinely the nicest. Thank you for letting me hang out with you, because I feel like we're friends at that point.
Yeah.
But if you're not,
I mean, you're involved in the most personal day in somebody's life.
yeah.
So now with content creation, because I want to like also, you know, take away this stigma, which
Yeah.
is that you are replacing the photographer and videographer, which is not the case.
No.
You're really working in conjunction with them as like an addition to the team.
Totally.
To grab some behind the scenes content that the bride is able to get pretty much immediately, to get next day. So this way it also kind of gives the photographers and videographers time to work on editing and things that they have to do before they send anything, so that the bride and the groom have content and have things that they can look back on pretty much immediately, but they're not like stressed in a way, like waiting for the photos and videos.
100%. I tell all my brides I am not a replacement for photo video ever. Like, I know that there are some brides that are like, look, I don't want a videographer, but I did want something, which I get. But also at the same time, I do something that's so drastically different than videographers. Like, I'm not there editing things on like Premiere unless I have to, but like I'm not editing on Premiere, going in, spending hours and weeks and months like perfecting this video for you and making sure the quality is perfect and rigging things up. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm there more to capture the more authentic little moments throughout the day, and they're not perfect, and that's what makes my job fun, is because my content is never center, because I'm not the center one ever. So that's always the photographer and videographer. I'm always a little off to the left or to the right, but my videos and photos are never going to be center. They're never going to be absolutely perfect. They're going to get cut off a little too short because the photographer moved in a way that, you know, just got in my shot. But I think that what people need to understand is there is a difference, and yes, I am giving them quality content. It's not the same as the photo video team at any capacity, but it is quick, so they do have something that they could share the next day that isn't them just reposting what their aunt took and it was off center and blurry, or like, you know, or just the selfies of guests that they were like, well, now that's the first thing people are going to see of my wedding, and I wish I had something for the next 3 months that I could at least show that I was so excited that the day was so beautiful, and I feel like I don't have that yet. So I definitely think that the immediateness, like the imminent sending of something, like the content, and that night and the next day getting all this content immediately is the biggest part of this, because we want, at this point, instant gratification. And we want to show something so beautiful that our friends and family are going to look on that couldn't be there and be like, oh my God, this is what the day looked like. And it's not just.
And to add on to that is that the photos and videos that you get from your friends are just never good.
Terrible.
Like, they're
terrible.
so bad. It's actually like,
they're horrible.
How did you take this photo? You know?
Yeah.
I had friends after my wedding like sending me photos, and I'm like, that was the best that you got? Like, come on. I mean, seriously.
Yep.
So when you work on a wedding day, what do the hours and things look like for that? Like, is there different, like, in a way, packages that people can purchase?
Yeah. So I do it on like a package basis, and the packages are based on hours. So I have a 4, 6, 8, and a 10. I obviously have done 15, so clearly flexible if anyone is asking. But I always try to, mostly the packages that I select or that people select are the 6, 8, and the 10. Unless like 4 hours for bridal showers and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually that's like a really good point that people can do that for their bridal shower,
Yep.
or like an engagement party or something like that, where it doesn't require
Exactly.
10 hours because it's not a full day's kind of
Exactly.
affair.
And they might not have a videographer because then it might not be as important to them to capture it, but they want like a little something. So I do the 6, the 8, the 10 typically is where it lies, but they all come with different amounts because the longer I'm there, the more raw content they're going to get. And then also I give them edited videos. So I give them all the raw videos that I take throughout the day and pictures that I take, as well as the like curated, edited little tiny short form videos for them. So, yeah.
It's honestly, it's a talent because, you know, like I told you, all that it's so much about the social media now, and it's just planning out content and figuring out what people want to do. I mean, even, listen, I'm not even going to lie. I went on my bachelorette and I'm like, my friends cannot get this one video down. Like you had, like, listen, and I want to tell you, I was very chill bride. I know I probably don't seem like I was, but I really was. Like, I know people say this. They're like, no, like I was so chill. No, I really was though. And,
Sure.
Okay. She's like, yeah, I'm going to interview your friends later.
Yeah, exactly. Stitch it right now.
And then trying like to get like, I'm like, come on, like one good, like one
transition
good video, like
or something.
Yeah. It was okay. I mean, honestly, it was mediocre at best. Like they you know, it wasn't their strong suit. It wasn't their strong suit, and that is why you need a social media content creator. That's why you need it.
I will say it's even hard to get, even on wedding days, transition videos, because I'm a big type A kind of person. I tell my brides this. Like, as I'm going over timelines with them, I'm like, okay, like, knowing it's going to change drastically.
Oh, of course.
As everyone in the wedding industry knows, like nothing's ever the first draft ever. You're going into the day and you have to be completely flexible. But I go in and I'm fully knowing what I'm capturing. I have a shot list that I need to get, whether it's photos, videos, but or transition videos, which is what I call them, or like TikTok specifically, where it's either a transition from them getting ready to them ready, or it's the like kind of them talking over and lip syncing to a video or whatever. So
I love those, and like when you watch the behind the scenes of them, it's hysterical.
Oh my God, I wish I kept them because otherwise I like delete that.
I would have loved to do that on my wedding day, but I was like, there's no way in hell that this is like getting done correctly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm looking at my friends, and I know none of them are getting it together. But we did do it for my friend's wedding, which was 2 months before mine. And she did like the Beyonce, like I think I'm ready.
Yes, I just did that too.
Yeah, so it's funny because like we have like the behind the scenes. It was actually like really funny. It was cute.
See, I did that and finally nailed it with my bride for the 15-hour one. I was like, we have 15 hours. We're good to go. We have plenty of time to get this right.
You're like, we have a million takes
exactly
to get it
whatever
right.
it takes to get it. Yeah, but it was great, and she actually nailed it on the first time every time, and I was like, this is what I need. But there's some days where the transitions just don't go the way they should, or I get the first part, and then by the time the bride has the dress on, the photo team whisks her away.
No.
And granted, I'm like, you know, they have a shot list, they have a time frame, and when you have those crazy weddings where it's like all hands on deck and it's
and a big bridal party.
Yes. And it's one right after another. It's like there's no time in between. We have to get them on the bus. We have to do this. Like there's no time to finish it. So at the end of the night, I'm like, hey, yeah, we still have like 2 more TikTok endings to film. Do you want to film it now? So it's like very fluid, go with the flow for me. That basically is 90% of my job, is dealing with whatever's thrown at me by the photo video team and just rolling with it, because you got to do it. That's all you can ask for is going with
and
the flow.
I think it's also good because you're working on these events where you're meeting all different vendors.
Yeah.
You're going to different areas. So like, I know you're from Long Island, just like me, but you know, you're going, you know, different states, different countries.
Yes.
Like you're meeting people from all over that you never know what other opportunities will lie ahead.
Yeah.
Or where it might take you in other avenues for work.
Yeah, and it's so nice because I'm always nervous because I feel like, and I don't know if you know this, but sometimes content creators, especially in the industry, are getting a bad rap because there are people not in the industry that just are social media managers that they're like, oh, okay, I could do this. Like a bride saying, oh, I plan my wedding, I could be a planner. Like,
yes, there's
like,
plenty of that.
I know. And there's social media managers that are coming out and jumping in photographer shots, jumping in front of the videographer, pushing them out of the way, being in the middle of the ceremony as it's happening in the aisle when the first kiss happens. Like, there are so many horror stories that I heard. And I am always nervous to go into a wedding because I'm like, what have these professionals, especially the photo video team, what have they heard and how can I ensure them that I am a professional and I've been in the wedding industry and I know what I'm doing. So I always write them before any time that I'm going, I always write the photo video team and tell them who I am, tell them my experience, and let them know that I'm not just some random social media manager that's like coming in off the street. So I specifically am like, I am going to make sure that they like me. I'm going to be best friends with them at the end of it. And I met so many people that they were like, I was so petrified at first. There was a content creator coming and now we text all the time. So it's so nice.
Yeah. I mean, cause what you're doing and I'm sure there's a lot of people who have been doing this for like quite some time, but it's still in a way very new school.
Yes.
And I think that like it will evolve for you over time too, because we see like Instagram Reels and TikTok are like the thing of today.
Yep.
But who knows what that will be in a year from now.
Exactly.
I haven't mastered TikTok, so like we're already behind. But like
just a little. Honestly,
I'm like a little behind. I feel like I'm past the point of like I'm gonna be like TikTok famous. Like it's not gonna happen because I think I'm funny enough too. I really do. Like I'm like, and that might be like the most braggy thing that I say about myself, but I don't really care. I actually think that I'm like comical enough for TikTok, but you know how like when you post something and you're like, oh, I think that's like the funniest thing that like I could have said or whatever, and it like
it
isn't, like doesn't get as much like, but then you post something and you're like, and then you're like, wait, wow, this got so much traction.
Yes.
Like, why was that so funny?
When I tell you, it's so funny that you said that because originally my journey through Instagram Reels was I was taking videos with a DSLR camera. I got a DSLR solely for like social media purposes, would go to events for my vendors and then edit them on Premiere and color correct and like stabilize and whatever. And they get nothing. They get like 1,000 views. And I'm like, okay, like why do I keep doing this? I go to one bridal shower with my phone like this and for like 5 seconds, edit it in the car there for 5 minutes, post it, gets 500,000 views. I'm like,
that is
I was like, what is happening here?
You're like, why this one?
Exactly. I'm like, this is so annoying right now. I'm glad it's blowing up, but I'm like, I hate you, Instagram, sometimes. So I realized then that I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's my perfectionism that I'm like, I need to post things that are perfect, but people don't like things that are perfect.
No, they don't. They like things that are like relatable.
Yes.
I said before my wedding, I posted this like reel that was like basically like, oh, I have like 16 days to my wedding and I have like 6 years of working out to do. Like, you know, and I'm like, shit, like we got to cram it in like 2 weeks to go. But, and like, honestly, like I did think it was funny, but like I was like, oh, we'll see if it goes. It like was like my highest like viewed video, and like it got like the most shares, which normally I don't check those things because I like kind of always forget how to. But then when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, like look at all these people sharing my video.
Yes, authenticity is key now, and I say this with every vendor who I work with. Like if you're not authentic with your audience on social media, you're not doing it properly because they want to feel that connection, and they could tell when you're fake. They really can. And I could tell when people are fake or they're buying followers and they're buying.
Right.
In this industry, there's a pandemic of buying followers and buying likes and views.
And I will say, so I have never done that, and I say that with pride because I'm like, you know what is that going to get me? It's not going to get me anything. It's not going to get me sponsors. It's not getting me paid. It's not getting me real people who are following my stuff, who like care about what I'm talking about. So I didn't, and like I've watched it grow.
Yes.
You know, it feels slow to me, but it's also just like, but it's organically growing and people care what I have to say.
Yes, and it's people that really, really value you, and it's the community you want to reach. And I am not kidding. And brides, look at your vendors and see if they bought followers. You know, you could tell, it's just disingenuous because.
Well, you can tell because if someone has 30,000 followers and like 11 likes on the photo, like why do you have 11 likes if 30,000 people are following you?
I totally agree. Or
I'm like, not to be a hater, but you know.
No, but it's true. Or like I even saw someone that bought that has like 30,000 followers but buys likes, because immediately upon posting there's all of a sudden like 1,000 likes. I'm like, you got 1,000 likes in 3 minutes? That's weird. So I'm like, and I hate to be like a hater like that, but
and
like
you would know better than anyone else about like being able to see these things.
Yes, I know right away. And it's funny because even you had him on the podcast, Vincenzo Salvatore Cakes.
Of course.
One of my besties.
I love him.
I taught him that. Like when he was like, I don't know how you realize, and I taught him what to look for, and he goes, oh my God, this person bought their followers. Oh, this person bought their followers. I was like, I know. And he goes, I would have never known unless you told me. But sometimes it's really there, and sometimes it's just, and people try to swindle you too. Like they try to do collaborations. I've had brands be like, oh, I have X amount of followers. I'd love to do a collab with you. It'd be great exposure. I'm like, okay, well, you bought all your Instagram followers, and why are you trying to swindle me?
I've
like that?
also always like, I stand by this, and I'm sure people will not like what I'm about to say, but it's true. Collaborating for something where it's for exposure, you never get what you need out of it. I'm sorry, you just did work for free. And I have done plenty of that over the past 10 plus years, so I know what that feels like to be like, oh, you know, I want to be part of this, or this could be really good for me, or this could introduce me to so-and-so. But then it reaches a certain point where it's like, I don't need to always collaborate on something that's not like bringing me anything out of it.
I agree. I think when you're small and it's worth it, I always put it in contracts, because I say, these are what I need you to do for me, and if you don't do this, you're going to pay the full amount. Because it's not fair to ask vendors who are spending time, money, energy, like just giving up their weekends to come and do something for free, and them not get what you need out of that situation. And a lot of influencers and people take advantage of it. So I put it in a contract, and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Can you provide this? I feel like this is a good, fair trade for my services on that day. And if you can't, then it's too bad, and we'll just have to part ways. And 9 times out of 10, I do get it. And honestly, the influencers I work with are the ones who I love and I trust, and I vet them very, very properly and ask them for everything, like a media kit and everything like that. But that you can get really, unfortunately, like taken advantage of in this industry to do work for free all the time.
Yeah, no, it's true. And listen, there are some things, like you said, that are like totally worth it.
Exactly.
And also, unfortunately, you have to sometimes do certain things in order to learn if it's worth it or not.
Agreed.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm still learning that myself. But,
aren't we all?
It's a constant learning process.
Yes.
So, Sam, I want you to tell everybody like where they can reach out to you so that they can learn more about hiring you for their day, whether they're a vendor or a bride-to-be who's like looking to have content creation.
Yeah. Well, you guys could all reach out to me on So Bridal Social on Instagram. So that's SO Bridal Social. And then honestly, I feel like as a Gen Z, that's probably the best place to reach me.
It really is.
Yeah, as true form for social media managers, you could just slide into my DMs and get in touch with me.
Well, that sounds good. Well, first, I want to thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was so nice.
It was so fun, and it's funny because Sam and I have like met multiple times over the years, just at events and things like that, and it's nice that we get to collaborate on something today, which is really fun.
It was
really
a long time coming.
It was a long time coming. It was, and I want to wish you the best of luck on this venture, although you don't need it because you're already killing it.
Thank you. Not me tearing up. No, it's so nice, and I am so blessed to be here with you and doing this, and I feel like it's full circle from literally when I met you doing
100%. I was like, and then when I saw you the last time, I was just like, I need to have her on. Like, we need to talk about this. Like, it's such a major thing in the industry right now.
Yeah. And
I think it's only going to continue to grow, and I mean, you'll have to like teach me because I have no idea. Because you know what it is? It's always evolving, and it's so fast.
Yep.
It's so fast. You think something is cool, and then the next thing is happening, and then you're like, but I just mastered this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's hard, and it really is. Even doing your own social media is just it's a full-time job.
100%. And next time, I guess we'll be probably talking about AI or something like that, give or take.
Oh,
And that we might need a learning process.
I'm gonna need a drink for that.
Yeah.
One, but
the real Bridetender podcast.
Yeah, I'll be bartending for that episode. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the Bridetender podcast. You can go follow us on Apple, on Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube and check out the video and get to see Sam in person. If you're not already following me on Instagram, please go follow me at the Bridetender for all fun facts on the wedding industry, ways to save money on your special day, and of course, hiring the best in the business for your wedding. Go follow Sam at So Bridal Social. See what she can do for you for your special day and make you feel like the most special bride to be. And until next week, mix yourself a cocktail, slide into my DMs with questions you want answered on all things weddings. Stay sane, stay healthy, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.